What could you do to protect your pets if you're sick or injured? My product, Save My Pet ID tag, helps you ensure that your beloved pets are safe and well cared for, even when life isn't what you expect.
Our special guest today is sort of a big fish in the world of boating and fishing. He is here today to share tips and tricks on how to share your canoe, your kayak, or other small boat with your four-legged pal, your dog, without making a splash. Please welcome to our show. The fancy long title is the Consumer Marketing Leader for Oldtown Watercraft. I like his name. He is Ryan Lilly, and he's from Hamden, Maine. Welcome, Ryan.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure.
And for those that do get to take a look, you have a four-legged support team in right with you. And what is that dog's name? And is he camera shy?
Oh, he's napping at my feet right now.
Okay.
I can stir him here in a second, but his name's Ranger. He's 4 years old, and he's a Hungarian pointer, or people refer to them as Vizsla. So he's been a great dog and a lot of fun.
Now, there you go. You just threw us a curve. Hungarian pointer, a.k.a. Vizsla. I've always heard of the term Vizsla, and they're pretty calm, sweet-natured brown dogs.
They are. I've talked to a lot of people that aren't familiar with the Vizsla breed, and to be honest with you, I wasn't either before we started looking for a dog. But I like to liken them to a German Shorthair Pointer. They look a lot alike, except the color.
They don't have the spots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, almost looks like a ridge, and a German Shorthair Pointer had a baby, but he definitely gets the zoomies. He was a very energetic puppy. He likes to nap and lounge when he's not outside chasing squirrels and birds and balls. But yeah, he's a great family dog. I initially got him because I am an upland and a waterfowl hunter and wanted to go down that path, but quickly realized I'd have to forsake all of my other hobbies in order to.
He's not good at hunting fowl.
He's incredible. A lot of it, he just has an instinct for it. But in order to keep him in tip-top birding shape, it requires a ton of work and commitment. Yeah. Traveling with my job a lot, and it would be a huge sacrifice. But he's a wonderful family dog. I do take him hunting on occasion, but my expectations are very low because he's more of a family dog than anything. Yeah.
He's probably on the sidelines going, "I'll have a latte, please, with with a side of dog biscuit." You go do what you do. That's funny. I was checking you out. You are really on a lot of podcasts and shows for dealing with boating and fishing and things like that. I just need to ask you, is this the first time you've been asked to be a guest on a pet show?
It sure is.
Are you nervous?
No, I love talking about my dog, so I was very excited and very much looking forward to this. And thank you for having me on. So first,
well, I know we gave you a fancy title, but I love your nickname. You're the brand evangelist for Oldtown Watercraft, and tell us a little bit about that company because it's been around a minute.
Yeah. So, brand evangelist. It's a title they run into very often. But
no, it's the first guest I've ever had with that title.
Yeah, but really, I run the marketing on the consumer side for Oldtown. I've worked here for 8 years, but the company's been around since 1898.
Wow.
We're based right here in Oldtown, Maine, right on the Penobscot River. Started out as a wood and canvas canoe manufacturer.
Well, let's just pause for a minute. Wood and canvas.
Yeah, incredible history. Maine, if you've ever been, you can't help but notice how much water there is. There's rivers and lakes and ponds in the ocean. And so folks back in the 1800s and before used the waterways as their highways before there was infrastructure.
There you go.
You lived your life on the water. It was your mode of transportation. It's how you got to work. It's how you worked. It's how you made your living. It's how you recreated. And so there was a need at the time to innovate the canoe design because of the time, there's really two boats that were predominant in this area. It was a bateau, which is a wooden john boat that was super heavy and cumbersome to carry around, or birch bark canoes, which were perfected by the Penobscot Nation, so indigenous folks that are from this area. But the birch bark canoe, although it's a pleasure to paddle and it's super lightweight, it's really hard to maintain over time, and it takes a really long time to make one. And so
Oh,
they saw an opportunity to innovate using new materials to bridge the gap between the heavy bateau and the lightweight, cumbersome to maintain birch bark canoe. And that's how Oldtown got its start. And after 125 or more years, innovation's still core to who we are, but really our big business now outside of our recreational canoes and kayaks is fishing kayaks. So that's really been a lot of my focus.
It's an evolution. I mean, this isn't your granddad's canoe or kayak anymore. For the folks, I have a kayak, but it's pretty basic. It's a 2-seater, and I live in Dallas, and there is a place called White Rock Lake, and it has a lot of opportunities to go canoeing. And I don't have even the pedal power. We just got the paddles, but it doesn't really flip very easily, which is a blessing. But there's some high-tech stuff I saw. If you could share a little bit about what is the kayak of 2024 with some of the goodies.
People are enjoying our innovation because we've allowed you to put your paddle down and control your boat using either your legs with a pedal drive or a battery-powered trolling motor that's integrated into your kayak. So what that allows you to do is you have two hands now that are free to hold a fishing pole or a camera or a cold drink in your hands or manage your dog on board. Being able to free your hands up from paddling allows you to really unlock a new way to interact with the water from a kayak. And these aren't your traditional kayaks that you sit inside. These are sit-on-top kayaks that are self-bailing. So if you get water inside, they self-bails, and they're very stable. And so that's really been the trend over the last 10, 12 years is sit-on-top kayaks that are propelled by either a pedal drive that you operate with your feet, almost like a recumbent bicycle, or a motorized kayak. Both are very unique in their own ways, but offer the same benefit. Keeping your
Now
hands
I know why you're the brand evangelist, man. Bless you. This is a prayer of good. I mean, there is something about people have cruise control on their cars and they like it because it's kind of cool. But there's nothing like being on the water in or on top of a kayak, right? Share what's the bliss for you?
I'm in it because I love to fish. And I'm not going to grab a recreational kayak and go out and paddle for the joy of paddling. So for me personally, I love to use a kayak or a canoe to get me to my favorite fishing spots. And a lot of my favorite fishing spots you can't access by a normal traditional outboard or inboard boat. So I'm able to access places that big boats can't.
Good point.
It's way easier to transport. And just the feeling of being that close and connected to the water is unlike anything else. So I've grown to just absolutely become obsessed with kayak fishing, not because that's how I make my living, but because that's brought me to some really unique places in my home state and in North America where you can't access any other way. You can't wade that deep with waders on. You can't get there because it's too full of weeds or timber or whatever that keeps your boat from being able to access some untouchable areas with my kayak, and you're right there in the action on the water, and it's amazing. And another thing that I love about being out in a fishing kayak or canoe is that you get to do it alone, but you also get to do it alone together. So when I go fishing with friends with fishing kayaks, we can fish together, but we're all on our own programs.
Yeah, I like that.
Fish to our own strengths. We can all kind of spread out and take time away from each other, come back together, rather than all being stuck on the same fishing boat, arguing about where we're going to go next. Or
yes, there's a lot of divorces and double kayaks, I can tell you. Hey, everybody, we're speaking with Ryan Lilly. He knows kayaks, he knows canoes. He is from Oldtown Watercraft, and we're going to dive in about how to bring your dog on those vessels safely and have a great time after we take this break. So you all know the drill. Sit, stay. We'll be right back.
Hey, have you heard? Four-Legged Life has a new digital newsletter. Here, let me show you how you get yourself subscribed. So you just type in Four-Legged Life, and that'll take you to the website. There we go. And this magic thing just appears, and you type in your email address. I'll use, let's see, how about coolestdogever@gmail.com. That's me. And then you just click on this thing here. There you go. It's the new digital newsletter from Four Legged Life. Get subscribed today.
I am getting schooled in a great way about all things on the water by Ryan Lilly of Oldtown Watercraft. And there's so many innovations that have happened with kayaks and canoes that he has discussed. But as a master instructor in pet first aid, you all know my group, Pet First Aid for You, and I have my dog Kona. Water safety is so important, and people want to bring, if the dog wants, on board with them. And I want to get into that because we're going to run the link to a short video that you did with your dog Ranger. But let's just dive right in. Before that dog puts that paw in the water, you're doing stuff on land, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think the baseline to having a great experience, both for your dog and for you out on the water, is putting the time and effort and energy into training your dog while they're young. I am a huge outdoorsman. My family's super active. We love to spend time canoe camping, paddling the river together, being out on the water as a family. And I also like to be out on the water a lot. And when we picked up Ranger, he's a water dog. He's a versatile hunting breed that is full of energy and loves the water, any bit of water who's in it. And so I knew right away that I needed to put the time in and the effort in early when he was young.
Yes.
Make sure that the training on dry land was solid to where when I brought him out in the kayak, he would listen, he would mind me, and we'd have a safe and fun time out of the water.
So let's talk about the land tips, because years ago, you don't know this, but one of my dogs is in the Guinness Book of World Records, Ryan.
No way.
Yes, I was living in California, and we were part of the original SoCal Surf Dogs. And I had a Husky Golden Retriever mix and a 14-pound mystery mutt, Cleo. The big dog was Chipper. And we contacted the Guinness people, and we got a modified surfboard. And whatever dog finished on the board with the person, we had a surfer, counted. And there were tons of dogs on there, bulldogs, golden retrievers. But little Emma, she was at the nose of the board, and she noticed dogs were flying off on the way to shore. So she just backed in and insulated herself and counted. And so the 17 dogs, including Cleo, made it to shore. It's a world record. And we raised $72,000 for the San Diego Humane Society. So giving new meaning to hang 20. So water is very important, but we always had the life jackets with the handles. Let's get into that, because people like, oh, my dog can swim. No, yes. Come on, safety first, right?
Yeah, even though Ranger is a strong and proficient swimmer, being in the water is very natural to him. But I live in a place where we have a lot of big water. We have a lot of current.
Yes.
Lakes. And so even though he's a strong swimmer, I want twofold. I want to be able to ensure that even if he falls in or jumps in by his own device, that he's able to stay afloat and not exhaust himself. And it also has a big old handle on it. So I can grab him and pull him back into the canoe or kayak a lot easier than without a life jacket. So
how much does he weigh again? I'm sorry.
He's about 70 pounds.
Okay, so no buoyancy matters here. That's a big dog.
He's a big dog, long legs. And so I wanted to make sure that he's safe and that I don't have to worry about jumping in and rescuing him and endangering myself if there's ever a situation, while also being able to pull him back into the boat. So he really loves the water. He doesn't have a lot of fat on him. He doesn't have a thick coat. So it also doubles as insulation and protection from the sun.
Good point. Yeah.
So he loves that thing. Yeah.
So how do you get a dog on a canoe or a kayak?
Sure. So a canoe is a little bit trickier because it's a bit skippier if you don't know what you're doing, but it's all about practicing the maneuver on dry land. Anything that I'm recommending that you do on water, you try first on dry land and then take it to shallow water, just offshore, practice before you take.
And bring those treats, right?
Bring those treats. Yeah. Ranger isn't so much treat motivated, but I know a lot of dogs are. I have friends that have labs that are very much driven by treats and food. So treats are definitely key. I also like to bring a long leash with me. And if I ever land on in a park or a public place, I have that leash ready. But again, that goes back to really good training. He has great recall. because I worked with him young, and he knows his place. So if I tell him to stay in his place,
Good.
lay down, he stays. So that all of that rudimentary training you put in the beginning translates very well for when you actually get out on these adventures. He's not going to wander off. I don't have to worry about that, but I still bring a leash with me. But anything that I recommend you try on dry land first, then take it to shallow water, and then you're ready to roll. But on a canoe, it's a little bit trickier, and you do have to counterbalance yourself. When you have two people on board,
Yes.
it's a little bit easier because you're able to use one person as counterbalance while you're getting your dog back on board. But what I recommend, that the most approachable, easiest way to get your dog on water is to invest in a sit-on-top kayak.
Okay.
A lot of those kayaks have pontoon-style hulls.
Yeah.
They're going to be way more stable than your traditional sit-inside kayaks. And I'm able to stand up sideways in my kayak, pick up my dog, and pull him in without the fear of that flipping over. I'll fall out before it flips over. So invest in a really stable kayak, but also be mindful of the kayak's maximum capacity. You want to make sure that between you and your dog's weight, that you're not exceeding that maximum capacity, because if you do exceed that, you do run the risk of the boat being tippier, the water coming through, the scuppers on the bottom. That now it just gets more dangerous. You want to make sure that you have a stable kayak, that you're well within the capacity ratings for that kayak, and then practice in shallow water or dry land before you take it out on.
And you mentioned in your neck of the woods, there is all kinds of bodies of water. There are some risk of currents. There are some risk of algae and salt water even. So I always, back in the day when I was surfing with Cleo and Chipper, we made sure that we completely rinsed our dogs off after the water fun and made sure they drank good, clean water. Any tips on those areas? Because algae is not a friend to dogs.
Yeah, typically when I bring the dog out, I will bring fresh water for me and my dog, and a little tiny bowl that he'll drink out of. So I do try to infuse some clean water in him throughout the day. But yes, a good bath when you get home. My dog, I trained him to take showers, so he takes a shower when we get home. And so, yeah, that's a great tip. Our water's pretty dang clean up here in Maine, but it's definitely more of a concern. I do spend a lot of time in Florida where there are a lot of algae blooms and a lot of freshwater parasites that the dog can pick up. So that is a very great
So
tip.
your dog is up to date on all the vaccines, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And what do you think Ranger's thinking when he's on the kayak with you? What's his joy?
His joy is being right next to me. He's a Velcro dog. So he's just happy to be a part of it. It doesn't matter where I'm going. He just wants to be a part of it. So he loves being out there. He loves to swim. He loves to chase birds. He loves just being out on the adventure. So I think he's just grateful to be a part of the fun and not stuck at home.
Now, I saw that you got a bucket list item checked off in December of 23. Did I do my homework on you or what? You got a clown knife fish. Tell us about that.
Yeah. We were down doing a photo shoot for a new product we were launching. And I do get to fish a lot. And whenever I can check off some fun exotic species that I don't get around here, I get really excited. And I was actually going for largemouth bass that day on Lake Ida in South Florida. And I ended up catching a really nice clown knife fish.
What is a clown knife fish, Ryan?
It's an Asian species.
Ooh.
It's really hard to explain. I recommend anybody Google what a clown knife fish looks like. They're very unique, but they're not native to Florida. But that's what's unique about Florida. There's a lot of introduced species, some that aren't supposed to be there, and some that the fishing.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it happens. I lived in South Florida for many years. So how do people follow you, Ryan, and how do they learn more about Oldtown watercraft?
We have many models that are suitable for dogs. If you want to learn more about Oldtown, our history, and what boat might be right for you and your pup, visit oldtownwatercraft.com. If you want to follow along on Ranger and I's adventures, you can follow me on Instagram at Ryan S. Lilly. It's Lilly. And would love to have you follow and engage with me. And we'll see you out on the water.
I can't believe the time goes by so fast. I have thoroughly enjoyed having you on our show, Ryan. I hope you survived being on your first pet show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks so much for making our tails wag by watching this guest interview from Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life. Make sure to subscribe so you're up to date with all of our Four-Legged Life content.